Hi, it's Mr. Preuss with the next installment of our college planning video series. The topic, your student activity resume. I'm going to briefly walk you through a couple of items. Information on how to create your resume, information on who's going to be asking for your resume and why you need to have one. Remember, this is one of the three big goals that I have for you, that in this case, by the end of your junior year, you'll have a resume that is prepped and ready to share with people who want to see it. So let's get going. I have a little countdown here, 3, 2, 1. So for 3, there are 3 main audiences for your resume. College admissions offices, recommenders like me, like teachers that you may ask for a letter of recommendation, and then scholarship committees. College admissions offices for sure want to know how you've invested your time over the course of high school, what recognitions or awards you might have received. They want information about your academic record and background. And so your resume is very valuable to them. Not every college provides you a space to upload an actual resume document, but if they do, you'll have one ready. If they don't, you'll have all the information from your resume that you can share in the format that they do provide for you. As far as recommenders go, I know, speaking for myself, I love having that broader picture of a student when I'm asked to write for them. The same thing is going to apply to your teachers. Each of us, we have our own specific experience working with you, but we like to know things that we don't know about you, your activities, your work background. There's a lot of information that helps broaden our understanding about who you are and what you've done. So you'll find a lot of teachers will be asking you for a copy of your resume as they're preparing to write for you. And then finally, scholarship committees. Scholarship committees decide who they want to give their money to based on criteria that are important to them. And so when they get an application, they want to know, for example, what's the volunteer background for this particular student? For a scholarship committee that values volunteerism, sometimes they want to know about your athletic background or academic background, work background. It could be anything. Scholarship committees have the freedom to prioritize whatever they want to. So a lot of times with scholarship applications, they'll invite you to provide a copy of your resume to them. So another purpose or another audience of your resume, honestly, is yourself. Developing your resume is a great exercise in self-reflection. So you get to take stock of your storyline, who you are, what's important to you, what you're passionate about, what you've invested the most time in. Sometimes developing your resume helps reveal perhaps gaps or some empty space that you think you might need to fill. And so developing your resume this semester, spring of junior year, builds in a little bit of time for you to identify gaps and still have time to address them. So it's a little bit about the audience and why you want to have a resume ready to go. Number 2 stands for 2 steps to create your resume. Of course, there's a lot of smaller steps within each of these 2, but the major 2 steps really are to brainstorm and then to organize. So when you brainstorm, open up a Google Doc and just start thinking through each year of high school, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. What did you do? How did you spend your time? Did you volunteer? Did you belong to clubs or extracurricular activities? Were you involved in athletics? Did you make honor roll any of the quarters that year? Did you receive any end-of-year awards or student of the quarter awards? So going through and brainstorming really is going to help you recollect your history as a high school student. And then the next step would be to organize that information. So organizing the information takes a lot of thought and a lot of intention. The reader of your resume is going to want to be able to see what's important to you based on what you include in your resume and how you list it. Some students choose to list their information in chronological order. So in each section, they'll start with a present year and work their way back in high school. So the most recent activities are at the top of each list. Other students choose to organize their resume based on the priority they give each of the items on their resume. So if you received a particular award that you see as most valuable and most telling about who you are and what you've accomplished, that could go at the top of the list. And then less significant awards and recognitions would follow. So you've got some decisions to make as you organize and format your resume, but it all stems from that brainstorm list of information that you'll come up with first. There are different opinions on the categories that you'd want to include in a student activity resume. The ones I've listed here generally work for most students. Besides your personal information, like your name, email address, contact information, you should have a section that covers some educational information. So the name of your high school, if you know the type of diploma you'll be earning, your rank in GPA, academic awards you received. Things like that are perfect to list in your education section. Probably the main section would be your activities. So extracurricular and co-curricular activities, including athletics, clubs, community organizations that you belong to. And then a third section would be your work and volunteer experience. So jobs you've held, organizations that you've given your time to. So those are the three main categories. Again, you can find other recommendations, but I find that those three categories capture most of the information that you're going to want to share in your resume. On to number one, one page. Now, after you're done brainstorming, you may find that you have 2, 3, 4 pages of information. I've seen some students convert that into a 3 or 4 page resume, and you could do that. But what I think may be a risk in doing that is losing your audience, particularly with college admissions offices where they're reading thousands of applications. Chances are that all the information that you brainstorm isn't absolutely necessary to share on your resume. So I would recommend having a master copy of your resume as a Google Doc that can list everything. And then as you're composing a resume for a particular audience, you can pare that down, ideally to a one-page document that provides the most essential information for each category. So again, knowing your audience is important, and then knowing yourself, so you know which activities or which awards really speak to the center of who you are, to the center of your story. Okay, so just for a quick recap, remember who your audience is. That should both help you develop the content of your resume and hopefully inspire you to actually create your resume, because you know people will be asking for it. Two steps to create your resume: brainstorm and then organize. And then finally, the end product, hopefully, is a one-page document that does a great job of summarizing your involvements, your skills, recognitions you received, so that whoever's looking at your resume can very quickly learn a lot about you. To help you actually draft your resume, I'm sharing some websites that have great articles to walk you through the process. CapEx has a step-by-step resume builder. Resume Genius is another website that has a lot of templates that you can use. And then our Counseling Center website has an article that'll review the information I've shared with you here. So good luck to you. Let me know if you need any help as you're developing your resume.